on to the key concept of the lesson, that is, as soon as India faced the emergency was a period where Indians have seen the dictatorship truly in alive. There was no opposition party which was left unturned. All the opposition leaders, including the famous politicians who are present even now, were sent to jails and were imprisoned. The situation was that everything was out of control. It's literally that it is that military rule is in focus, and during the emergency period the fundamental rights are cancelled and the courts were reduced just subordinates to parliamentary, and there is no other alternative except than accepting the orders given by the officials. The officials were made supreme commanders of their executives, and they are only instructed to execute the instructions given by the higher competent authorities. In this scenario, later in 1977, the period of emergency came to an end. During this period, even many of them did not dream or ever thought that it would be ended so soon. And with the end of emergency in 1977, Indira Gandhi she herself declared that she is going to release all the political prisoners and all the prisoners out of the jails, and she is going to contest the elections. So in this period of elections, when she came in to contest the elections, there was a split even in the Congress party itself. Many of the leaders left the mother nation of Congress party and they started their own Congress party. So we got Congress original and Congress, the other Congress party also. So now we got the split in the Congress party, as well as we got the new party called Janata party, and we also called SAD party, Swatantra party, and we have many other parties coming into the scenario. Now moving on to the context, when the elections were held in 1977 after the emergency came to end, except very few leaders like Indira Gandhi also lost her own constituency, home constituency, and the Congress could not retain her power at any longer, and most of the leaders who were contested in the Congress seats have lost everything, and the Janata party came to power with a thumping majority. All the opposition parties came together and fought against the Congress government or Indira Gandhi in personal, because here the emergency period is considered as Indira Gandhi's personal interest, but actually it was a form of government which was headed by Indira Gandhi. But coming into reality, people could not demarcate it or divide that Indira Gandhi versus the other issues. So they have seen Indira Gandhi government versus the other governments, where they have faced the civil rights were cancelled, the prices were shooted up, and all the famous people were kept into prisoners. So in this way, Indira Gandhi was considered as a very bad scenario at that point of time, and she lost her own hometown of elections, as well as she lost in all places, and in except in 9 states, remaining all the other states, she could not retain any of her power, and finally Congress became into the position of opposition and the Janata party came to power. In this way, the return of India towards democracy after emergency was coming into an end. This was a historical incident or a historical period when a nation has faced most severe time. The democratic systems have never failed. So many of the questions have raised that is democracy got expired in India, but the 1977 elections have truly made it clear that democracy is still alive and the multi-party system still coexists in India, and there is no single party dominance further. That is only the Congress party. We got all the other opportunities of the other parties to get in the full majority, and Congress reducing itself to less than its half strength, but it could retain its power in the 9 states. What happened in the 9 states? Did the new government accept the 9 states governments of the old Congress government? What are the other steps taken by it? What are the positive steps and the negative steps? We shall discuss now further. Now let us have a clear view on the 1977 elections to understand the elections very clearly, because 6th Lok Sabha elections are the historic elections. The mandate was given very clearly by the people. It is clearly proved that India is a democratic nation. Let us go into the realities of the facts. Like in 1977 elections, the elections were held in 1977. The elections which held in 1977 are the 6th Lok Sabha elections. It is a historical elections. Why do we call it as a historic elections base? For the first time in the Indian history, the new parties like Swatantra party, Bharatiya Janasangh, Bharatiya Lokdal, Socialist party, Janata party, and in Janata party we have the key members like Jayaprakash Narayanan and Acharya J.B. Kriplani coming together and motivating. Now, the important fact of all these things is that these all parties together fought against a single party, that is the Congress party. That is literally meaning like against Indira Gandhi. All the parties of Swatantra Party, Bharatiya Janasangh, Bharatiya Lok Dal, Socialist Party, Janata Party under the leadership of Jayaprakash Narayanan, it is also known as People's Party, and the man who motivated all the people to stand against the Congress or literally against Indira Gandhi is Mr. Acharya J.B. Kriplani. All these people have worked only with the common binding force is that we are standing against Indira Gandhi's government or Indira Gandhi's Congress, which literally means that they are the people who are showcasing the anti-Indira Gandhi movement, because it is a time period when India has ever seen or witnessed an emergency period, and they have seen the extremities of our ruling system. So they all are motivated to stand against the Indira Gandhi movement, and the historic mandate came for the 6th Lok Sabha elections that Indira Gandhi lost the elections and the coalition government under the leadership of Jayaprakash Narayanan could take over the chair. For the first time in 1977, Indira Gandhi completely got swept out. Only in 9 states we have the Congress party in power. Remaining states of 14 states, Congress lost her power. Now, the important scenario of the coalition politics is that even though these all parties are not binding with the same democratic principles or same idealistic principles, they are having different ideologies. When the situations have arisen about the eminent personalities, they all were together. They forego their ideological differences and they have concentrated together and brought a famous personality into the key positions. Let us see that man, Mr. Neelam Sanjeeva Reddy, who became the Speaker of Lok Sabha on 26 March 1977. Later on, here we have to understand that even though these many parties came to power and different backgrounds, different ideological issues, they have chosen a personality who is of all these things. They have forgotten all their biases of a personality, Mr. Neelam Sanjeeva Reddy, who is an eminent personality here. So he was rose to the position of Speaker on 26 March 1977. Very soon, in less than 3 months of period of time, he has to leave the post and he has to take over the position of the president. So he has taken over the presidentship post on 25th July 1977, and Mr. Neelam Sanjeeva Reddy has to made a history here, like he was a person who was elected unanimously by all these parties, and not only this, he got the support of Indira Gandhi Congress party also to maintain him the unanimous leader and the president of India, the nominal head. Now, the another important key factor what Neelam Sanjeeva Reddy has played in the history is that he was the only president who worked with a large number of prime ministers in his term or in his tenure. During his tenure of 5 years, he has to work with 3 different prime ministers. Because of the coalition politics, India has seen frequent changes of the prime ministers. So let us see here. The first one whom he has to work was Mr. Morarji Desai, who formed the government immediately after this. Then we have to see him working with Charan Singh, who came to power in late 1889 and all these periods. And later we got the period of Mrs. Gandhi regaining the power back in 1980 elections. So in this way, Mr. Neelam Sanjeeva Reddy has made a clear mark in the history by becoming the unanimously elected president even by the opposition, the only president who was supported by the opposition at that moment of time. And also he has worked with 3 prime minister candidates. They are Morarji Desai, Charan Singh and Mrs. Gandhi. His role was very vital. Now, what happened after the new government has come? What is the basic principle that they came up with? What are the basic promises that they made to the people? Are they able to fulfill the promises? Did the elected government function for the whole period of its term? Let us see all these answers for all these questions. We will discuss about them.